Okay, so it's 411. I love it when it says that. It's like you're given the 411, and it's on the 18th. So yesterday, the 17th, and I think that that number means more than what, you know, whatever they started with the, um, whatever. I think that the letter it has something more to get us to question things. It's the cue for question. And so question everything, question things, think about things, look at things, and stuff like that. So this morning, I have no idea what's going on. But I'm just not going, well, I'm busy for one fucking thing. Like, Jesus Christ. It's like, we spend all this time going up and down the stairs. Those animals, these animals, those animals, these animals. It's just like, oh shit, man. I think if it was all in the same house, but just going up and down that flight of stairs, it's good for you though, good exercise. So, but like going on TikTok and stuff, it just irritates me and annoys me. I'll try and go on for a few minutes, and it's just like, oh, that like it's cringy at times. And then plus my algorithm or something is weird, so and I'm so burnt out on the dog thing. But anyway, so I don't really know about much going on. But but this morning I was thinking about something, and I was like kind of following my track, and then I was like, oh, this is what I should talk about, because then maybe that can help people be able to follow the tracking in their mind. So I don't know if it will help or not. But anyways, I felt motivated to talk about it. And then when I went on to check the time, it said 411, give the information. So that's what we're doing on the 18th. And supposedly the 20th, something's going to happen. I hope to fucking God, man. Because it's like, you know, if something big was happening, we'd all know it. Otherwise, it's just tedious little bullshit to get us to where we're going. So it's like, it's a real nail biter, just like, it's not like intense. It's just like so fucking stretched out and long and stuff. Oh, you know, my ring that I said, I wonder if they did a 3D printing of it or something, which I don't know. I just don't trust anybody in this. The people are out to fuck people all the time. I mean, even to the point where we have fucking Tinder and shit. Everybody's just out to fuck everybody. And so, people think that's how they're going to get ahead. Well, obviously, you don't understand karma. Obviously, you don't understand how the spiritual world works. So, good luck to you with that one. But, and people are going to see. They're going to see. There's going to be so much humiliation over some people's corruption and their lack of integrity. It's going to be a hard thing for them to face. I mean, all of us, like, whatever, how it affects you, you know, you may have to forgive and forget, because otherwise you're holding on to shit, and why hold on to baggage? This is just going to weight you down. So, hold on, I did get a cup of tea. This is my third one, but it's my first one is sitting down. So it's like, kind of want to enjoy it a little. So, I swear to God, it's when the dogs and stuff, it's like the moment you get up, it's off to the races. Let's go. And then it's like, now it's like, okay, I'm going to do my work now. And then I must have satisfied Stella because she just went over and got on her thing. Like, okay, do it. She wasn't whining and crying at me about another thing. It's the second day on the goat paste. It's in a horse paste thing, but the stuff is typically used for goats. So that's what we'll call it to differentiate, because these words, they're so bad for you, but we're not allowed to talk about it. So anyways, and I honestly, I feel like, and I'm not sure, I don't get down there and smell her when she's peeing, but the other day it was like, whoa, it was a whiff. I was like, shit, this is, I was, the thing, because you can smell the sea, and then they're attacking the filtration system, and so many are, and Winston had it. And so, and his, did something where he had problem peeing. She had another accident. I don't know if I already said that, which I don't know if it's like she's having a problem holding it. I don't know if she's getting confused. I don't know if this CA is sprouted up and moved up here. I don't know if this came from something in here, because that whole, whatever happened when she had that stroke thing, whatever, you know, and the doctor was like, oh, I don't think it's a stroke. I think it's, which to me and the neighbor, it looked exactly like a stroke. She had one side that was drooping. She couldn't walk, and she got falling. He said it was an inner ear infection. But those are supposed to last like a couple weeks. Hers lasted for like a year. And she started being able to walk, but she was real crooked. But her something changed from that point on. And they did say, well, it could be the CA, but we don't know without doing all the tests. But we don't really feel like you should do all the tests because we think it's an inner ear thing. So I was just like, okay. And then when you do any test on a dog her size, they make you put them to sleep because they're so scared. And they've got to have them calm and all this stuff. So it's a big old fucking thing. So anyways, it's like, I don't want to do any of that shit. I mean, I am not coughing still, which just trips me out. It's so weird to breathe. And there's no rattling. There's no... it really trips me out. Like, I know I keep talking about it, but it's like, whoa. Like, I mean, I know what my lungs felt like. I know how much I coughed all the time. And I kept thinking that, you know, I've had the allergies for years now, and I've got all this mold and all this moisture and all this shit, which I think there was a lot more to that mold and fungi and shit that was going on inside my body. But the coughing and then I know it sounded like some kind of smoker's cough or something. And I would go outside sometimes, and the lady who would be across the street, the one who liked to be outside and talk about all her business, the angry ones who wanted to kick my ass and shit. So she would go out on her porch, and she would just be coughing and coughing. I'd think, oh, God, I don't want to sound like that. But when I would cough, there was so much to it. It was so deep and so mucusy. And now it's just like nothing. Like that happy accident just blew something. It's weird. It's so weird because you don't know how bad something is until you clean it up, which is a part of something that I'm also experiencing the physical. That's one thing you can notice too, the micro and macro. It's speaking to you. It's just, it depends on how you're listening and what you're paying attention to. Hold on a second. As on that, because on that, I keep picturing the thing that I had started, what I was going to say, but just a second, was, on that, okay, well, I guess it's going to come back, but this other thing is just knocking at the door. Okay, so this is where I'm going to kind of explain, like, how a process kind of works, where you kind of pick up on your communication. Because your communication isn't like what you may be thinking. And it probably is happening. You're just like not paying attention to it. You're looking outside of yourself. Because it was really crazy is when I got in with this group, you know, and they were all into meditation and shit. And so I was trying to meditate. I kept trying to meditate, and I kept expecting like this thing to happen or some entity to come sit down and talk to me or some experience. I kept thinking that this big thing was going to happen. And then I don't know when it was. Like, I was getting a whole bunch of videos on channeling. And I was listening to them, and I kept being like, well, this is what I already do. Like, what are they talking about? This is what they call channeling. And so that was like an aha to me. And then in the meditation, I don't remember what it was that where all of a sudden I was like, oh, I already meditate. Like, there was things that I just did naturally that when I started trying to do them and follow what everybody else was doing, it was making me really confused. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like a step back and looking at things or something, because like I meditate, but I don't go into a whole thing. It's like I just go into like this trance. To me, it's just like I just go into where I leave the conversation, which mostly, was with the dogs really for years, but leave that and go into my conversation deeper with in my head. And so it is I always looked at it as just kind of like spacing out or something. I think that's how people looked at me, like I was spacey. Yeah, I would be told that you're so spacey, you're such a space cadet. And so I would think something's wrong with me, but really that was me just going into my communication. And I just go in and out, in and out, in and out. And so I don't have to go in and sit there and look at a candle, shut my eye, go sit and do all that stuff. All I have to do is just shift my vision inside. So it's just like, instead of looking out, I look in. And then, and there's always stuff. It's just a shifting gears, like, or something. It's like putting it in it's just a shift of your consciousness or your brain or something. And so the mind, so it's not like the brain, the mind, let's say, because the brain is a artificial three-dimensional character, an entity, a thing that we believe is in existence that has some kind of control over people. It's so wild too. But I mean, there's things that people believe, but they didn't come out of their body. Like I'm telling you, coming out of your body is the biggest gift ever, because all of a sudden you see like, oh, I'm this. That I don't even have to have that. You're the exact same. You just don't have this shell. You're the nut inside. Yeah, we're all some little bit nutty. Hold on a sec. It becomes tedious. So I'll make another cup after. I kind of hope that it's more cloudy, like a day that where it's like, oh, I'll just stay in. When it's nice, it's hard to, especially I've come from years now of being in a rainy, cold, shady place. And so now it's like, oh my God, the sun. So anyways, I keep staying outside, and it just also trips me out. It's like, God dang, my mom's house grows like crazy. God, all these flowers. She's got all those, I don't know, lilies or irises or something all about to come up. I think they're lilies. Oh, so many everywhere. The, all her grass just like, it was like overnight, boom, green. Everything's green, green, green. All these yellow, wild looking lily flower things are everywhere. It's like, it's really pretty. And it's so, I don't know, there's something about the growing season, the growth, they just see it feels good. Just feels good. That's what we're going to go into this. It just feels good, man. So, anyways, let me get back to things. So anyways, that's why, when I talk about some of this stuff, is so you look at yourself differently. Don't just catch on like, oh, this is what they do and this is how they do it. And you could be doing stuff without, and you have a new way, you have a different way, because you've been doing it ever since you were a kid. And then you can tell other people, oh, you don't have to just do it that way. You can do it this way, or you probably already do it. That's my thing, is you probably already do it. Because I was just doing all this stuff since I was a kid. I just never stopped. And I think that a lot of people get pushed by peer pressure to become different. Like somebody calls them a space cadet the first time, and it's like they become fully attentive in this world, hanging on every word, like who's going to hurt me next or something. We're all living through different perspectives, different things that we are hyper alert to, and that becomes our awareness. Whatever you become hyper alert to becomes your reality. And so everything that is happening is you are creating it, but you don't realize it. So that's how you can shift into different thought patterns and move into a different reality. You got to shift out of that one. But I would say that because when it's hanging like that, it's heavy, is because you need to, cut it down, like going through the jungle. You don't, if something is giving you pressure, an awareness, then that is something that you need to release. You can't just stuff it away. So there's some pain that you're holding on to from something to make you keep watching for that. And it could be, something like somebody said something to you in the very beginning and it hurt your feelings and it made you hyper. But I'm also saying that so much of this stuff is stuff that we've carried from other lives that's more deeper than the thing that was that happened to bring it up in this one. So that's where you can benefit from going deeper, if you want to call it meditation. To me, it's kind of like a reflection. It's a time to go in and just look at yourself and in a more direct lens. So you just are looking at your own thoughts, your own behaviors, your own how you feel about things. And there's a lot of communication in there. And that's where I'm trying to say is like how you start slowing down the communication and realize, because maybe some people, it's going too fast. Like the movie's going too fast and you can't stop it, but it's like you got racing thoughts. And right now the energy is racy. And this is one thing I was also thinking about with the vibration. Like as the vibration raises and your vibration raises too, there's, to me, there's like certain things, confirmation, hold on, let me. So when you are, when you got the racing thoughts and your vibration, so it is like your vibration is going at this higher rate or whatever, like you're vibrating higher, but it is this oh, let me see. Oh, okay. So you start vibrating higher. Okay, so it is like a shifting out of a lower vibration. So then you start going higher. But like I had said before, it's like there's certain things that will make you feel like you don't have any connection. So it can make you feel like you're going into open water almost. And it's trippy, yeah, because then, it was like more daring to go out into the sea, further from the shore or something. So in the micro macros, so in the representation, you are moving towards that open water, less boundary, because that is a part of the awakening, is the breaking down of the boundary, what is holding us and blocking us. In the micro macro, that is why in our history, everything is opening up. And in the lands, everything is opening up, because it's the same thing. Everything that's happening inside is happening outside on a grander scale. And but you don't want to get too caught up in watching what's happening on the outside, especially from certain perspectives of fear. That's why if you get into observation, you can enjoy it, just watch, ride it out. But that's also at the higher vibration, is being able to ride things out. And that is, that's the kind of things that become difficult. And like going against, the grain, when everybody's like, oh, they're going to die and all this stuff. And you're like, but death isn't real. And we're at a time of our human history of becoming sovereign individuals where we learn to take care of ourselves in a new way. And, but, not everybody is having the same kind of things. And it's just so much bigger. It's so much bigger. Like I said, I don't know if certain people are going to suddenly have that light come on and they're going to suddenly see and then look at the error of their ways and all the stuff that they went through for a couple of years, and then they're going to see, or is it that they're the martyr, they're leaving, and it's so their family have to bring up all this stuff so that they can heal and awaken and go forward. It's like, it's hard to say. We just, there's so much stuff. You just got to wait, watch it play out. But then, you know, you start sounding crazy to people on a whole new level. And so, and no compassion and stuff when you have nothing but compassion and empathy. And that's why you've got to kind of be more sparingly with it. You can't just pour it out for everybody. And that's where when you see you pour it out for everybody, it's like you're trying to fill their needs, which is a need of your own. Then if you feel like you need to fill other people's needs, then you have to look at yourself. Why do I feel like I have to fix everybody? Why do I have to be the one who has to go and fix it? Why do I, you know, and start questioning yourself, because otherwise it becomes these entanglements. Like they need something, you need something, but so many people don't realize that their need is to give. Like it's like this God complex or something, you know, where it's like, I've got to fix everything. I've got to do it all. Nobody can do anything, you know. And a martyr. There's like a lot of different personality flaws. Like you got to go in and look at yourself. You just got to look at the stuff going on around you, your relationships. Just you'll figure your patterns out when you start paying attention, and your guides will help you. And so this was just a thing that kind of show like more how communication works. Because this one is just like was happening I was getting my cup of tea and I was like, oh, this is what I should talk about. And this is where I said 411. So the this happens periodically. Like I'll go someplace and I have a thing about leaving something better than when you went. So you go someplace, you don't leave things worse, you leave them better. So you do things to make things better. And so being here, you know, my mom's aging and plus taking care of all those, I'm like, you don't have a lot of time for yourself. Like this is such a huge break for her to get to go do this. And she's acknowledged it. And so she is and then going blind and stuff. So, you know, there's lots of stuff around here that need to be done. Like she said, you know, I've got more projects. You want projects? I've got plenty. And one thing too, because she went through such a long time of not having money, so she's very not frugal, but because in some things she's just like, you know, you know, I don't know, because I'm guilty of showing her cute cat things. Oh, look at this cute thing. Every cat thing. So it just depends on what you're going after. But then when you say, well, let's go get some wood and we'll just build a door frame. Well, yeah, do we really need to go? I was like, well, I'll go look for some wood around here. I think I can find some. And then I did. And she said, that's what I've been doing for a long time. Just go and find scraps around here, wire things together. Things aren't done properly. So, and she's very good at just making things work that aren't done right. And so, so there's just a lot of those kinds of things, you know, that have been for years and years and years. Like she'll just put another one on top of one, and like her light things outside. And so anyways, so she's gone and I've got the dogs. So I'm trying to stay out back with them. So it's kind of a mid-ground. So they're all kind of together, but they all won't go out there together mostly. And then Stella gets hot and she wants to come over here for her next meal. And like, she doesn't like to do anything for too long. And, but she's my girl. And I don't want to lose her. I want to get to these fucking med beds. I want something to work. I want something to clear so she can get to the part of being just like living life, being healthy. Like, man, what's it feel like? You don't feel pain. You don't feel suffering. You don't feel sick. I'm telling you, I think pain and suffering, sickness, all that grounds people. It gives them something to hold on to understand themselves. And so it pulls them into a form. And in this free falling, pulling from your form, and that is the going into open water, leaving all of the boundaries behind. And it can feel super uncomfortable, and it can look like you need rescuing from everybody else. Like, what are you doing, maniac? And just feeling myself. I'm just trying to figure out what it all means. I'm just going with the flow. And everybody's just like, oh my God, can you believe how weird they are? I was like, so anyways, but, you know, go with the flow, I'm telling you. Keep working your way out, just edging your way out, letting go of all of the boundaries and stuff. And it's so crazy because open water scares the fuck out of me, but as a soul, it also has there's a draw, even though to me, it seems like a very scary place to have nothing to identify yourself, nothing, but we're working on this self-identifying. Like we've already created all these parts of ourselves. So it's kind of like we're putting them all together and looking at ourselves in a new way that we've never seen ourselves before as souls. It seems like. And then but that's going to be the part of the mirrors where the people have got to look at their dark sides. They got to look at the sides of themselves that they've been ignoring and heal it. That's why it's going to go into this huge healing time. But there's people at all different levels, so it's going to be a lot of action, movement. It's like the escalator's full. And so, okay, so on this idea of I like to leave things better. So anyways, in her yard, and the other day she was cooking out, so she got out a couple of furnitures and she set them out. We sat outside. And so while I've been out there, I've been just cleaning up. And I'd seen like her whole patio, the walkway and everything, and it had like shrunk. And it's so trippy because I was thinking, I bet you she doesn't realize this, that she can't see as good. And it just seems, I don't know, because you go all winter and go through those storms, and then all the mud and stuff slides down and it covers your walkway. Because this is something I've seen on this guy's TikToks who goes around these overgrown yards, and people have whole patios and shit that have gotten covered, sidewalks, all sorts of stuff. So just stuff just grows over it. Dirt washes in, more just keeps growing, and pretty soon you got your whole patios covered, your whole driveways covered, your whole sidewalks covered. It's so crazy when it undoes that stuff. So anyways, so I had the shovel and I was going around and I dug it all out back to where it was, got it all cleaned up and all on, so I've been working on that and getting all nice. And it just looks so nice and fresh. Everything looks so clean. I know she's going to be so excited when she gets back. And I ordered, I was sitting out there and she has a bunch of umbrellas, which, fuck, I can see why now. It is so cooking hot. Like, it's crazy how sunny and hot it is here. And I don't know if it's extra because we're by the lake or what, but fuck, man. And so, she always has all these umbrellas, and the umbrellas don't last long because the sun beats down on them and the fabric becomes really shit. But anyway, so I was sitting out there. I was like, oh, you know what would look really good? A yellow umbrella. Because all these yellow flowers and stuff, and she has some yellow decorations and yellow chairs and stuff. I was like, that would be so cute. And so I ordered one, and so she doesn't know that's going to be here. I know she's going to be so excited. Like, something, it's so crazy, like little things like that you can do for people. And it's such a like thoughtful thing, even though you're not trying to, well, it is being thoughtful, I guess. But it feels so good to the receiver. And, but yeah, you can turn it into, what are you doing that for? But anyways, I know she's going to be so excited to come home and everything is going to be so cleaned up, and she's going to be able to just go out there and sit and barbecue and then her new bright colored umbrella. So I know she's going to be excited. And I love doing that kind of stuff to make people happy or whatever. And, but it's not like a need of mine. It's not like, well, I got to feel good about myself, so I got to run around and do things to other people so I can feel good. Well, I can find out a lot of things for my own self to feel good to do. And that's one thing, where you got to find that balance. But also, it's really good to be in service, to be doing things for each other, to be doing kind acts and stuff, because it does feel good for both parties. And so, anyways, I was thinking about this, and I had thought about it before, because sometimes I feel like I'm Mary Poppins. feel like a Mary Poppins. I can just go in the room and just, you know, do a little of this, do a little of that, and it's just like sparkles. And like I keep looking outside, like it's just like it's sparkling, man. You just go and do these little touches. Like there's all sorts of things like a fallen over, this is bent down, and all that stuff. So I'm going around fixing everything, putting all our little decorations back up, all our little, just tons of those little things in the ground, little like fairy lights and shit. And that is one thing. Is that so she had tons of lights, and her things holding them up are just things that had broken on something. So now she's got using them for another thing, and so she has tons of lights going all out everywhere. I'm not even shitting you how many lights. So anyways, I was trying to move a thing, and it was like, oh my God, these lights are so heavy on here. No wonder it won't stay up, because she's like, you got to be careful. Don't touch that. It will all fall. It's like, so anyways, I let it all fall. And I went and I took all the lights down. Well, two big, of those big light bulbs, all the little like, little lights, like, I don't know, we used to think of them as like Christmas lights, and but not the, you know what I'm talking about. So anyways, everybody has them hanging everywhere now. And so I so I had taken them all down, and I took them all in and was plugging them in, and then I went and put them all up and took down the ones, but just made them tighter, the ones that worked and stuff. There was a couple, but I'm not going to throw them away because she probably wants to reuse something, so I'll just leave it. But I'll give them to her when she gets here. But but so like cleaning up this stuff, redid all of the lights, I did the sweeping and all of that stuff. I didn't redo all the lights, like, 'cause she has a deck that it was like, oh my God, that is a lot of it just crossed over, looped around, like I said, it's like when I think when some start burning out, instead of taking those down and get rid of them, because she holds on to things, is she just added another string. Well, she's gonna get the very last minute of that life out of those ones. Sometimes you just gotta let go of stuff, but that can be a difficult thing. So anyways, I'm sitting here feeling like Mary Poppins, and there was another, I don't remember what it was, but I had that feeling before, where it was like, oh my gosh, just go in and just do this little stuff. And it just, I feel like it's so sparkly. Like I just pull up in my bag, do this and that, you know, and it just becomes sparkly. I feel like so Mary Poppins like. And so I was thinking about that. And so then this image came into my mind. Let me think of that order now. Okay, so I was thinking about being out there and doing that. And then I was in that, like in the communication thing. So then it comes in, all of a sudden I start seeing this commercial back from when I was a kid. And so in the communication, so it's already going, because I'm having this thing about Mary Poppins, and I'm picturing these things and stuff. And it's like, you know, this good deeds, but like I said, you know, you don't just go in and just use good deeds to feed your ego. It is like a give and take. It's like a putting energy out, and what would you want and stuff. It's like this energy, and so it becomes more dependent or stagnant when you are trying to do it to get something from somebody. So even though I know it's gonna make her happy, it's like it's not like I'm dependent on that, because it made me happy. So if she came back and she's like, oh my God, why'd you do this? And be mad at me or something, I would be able to look at it as like, oh, it's her issue. I don't know what her deal is, but maybe she feels like I'm stepping on her toes. She's really tired of me being here. And, you know, it could be anything. And so anyways, but to me, it's like doing little things around here to help her out, because her patio suddenly became so much bigger, and all the little mud and stuff that had come down, I think it just slowly was closing in. And I mean, you know, it was getting smaller, but I don't know if she couldn't tell, or maybe she has to do that every year, and I just saved her that. But also, there's another thing about you don't want to just be saving somebody from their work, because then she'll become weaker. And this is one thing, as people age, they've got to keep doing stuff for themselves. You don't want to become weak and tired, because you'll become weak and tired. It will just keep going in that direction. You want to stay going in the direction of independence and strength. And so anyways, I was thinking about that, Mary Poppins, and being able to go in and just make things better, not trying to do things or get things from other people, just put out, energy of making things better. And so I started seeing this commercial from when I was a kid, and it was this Wrigley's commercial. And it was back when I was a kid, there was this zebra gum. I think it was zebra striped or something. And it was Wrigley's gum. I think it was even a zebra on the package. And it was, all the gums were different flavors. So they had these zebra stripes in them of different flavors. Like you get strawberry, or I don't remember what they were. They were really popular for a long while, it seems like. I don't know whatever happened to them, but maybe they still have them. I stopped chewing gum a long time ago. But because it hurts my jaw. It's just like, I can't do that. So anyways, so I was seeing that commercial, and the Riding the Wave, and I was a character riding the wave, because in the commercials, ride the wave, and it would have the gum as this wave, like a slide, and it would go into the next color or something. And so the person would be going, and whatever, how the commercial would go, and they're riding the wave, and the gum keeps changing colors and stuff. And so I was, all of a sudden to be shown that was, and so you're thinking about, you got to pay attention to what you're thinking about. So I was thinking about doing good works, Mary Poppins, making things better and stuff. So then the vision comes in and it shows me this old commercial, and I see it, and how it makes me feel. And so then it's that's the raising your vibration thing, is riding the wave. It's like this colorful and more moving kind of thing. And so that's the higher vibration. And then the lower vibration becomes more and more dense. I always see it as like black and white movies compared to colored movies. But really what we're going from is like colored movies into cartoons. Like we're going more into a cartoon world where it's cartoonish, and that doesn't mean we're going to look like cartoons, although there is something to this AI where all these people, want to look like this perfect version of themselves. And there's going to be more about that. I don't know how. I don't know if the med beds are going to do it, if people with their own minds and healing and letting go of things, where everybody is just going to become this best version of themselves. And it's not going to just be spiritually or mentally. It's going to also be physically. People are going to really look good. So it's kind of like going into these like cartoon AI looking people or something, because everybody is going to become good looking. Everybody's going to be real good looking. And so, like the cartoon version of themselves, and people do this all the time. There's AI filters, like you can see yourself in a Disney cartoon. You can see yourself in these different cartoon things. And everybody does look cute when they turn into the cartoon. They got these big eyes. Everybody does look cute, but that's kind of like what we're going to go into. It's like cutesy kind of. Everybody's going to be cute and fun and colorful, and it just is like this totally different energy. This other one is so drudgery. It's so heavy, but you got to let go of the heaviness. You got to figure out what makes you heavy. But so in the communication, that is where then you see, oh, there's like a whole thing that the vision means, and so and you'll know what it means, and then there can be more, another vision, another realization. Like it just keeps branching out, and so then you just see more. But to me, that riding the wave like that, in going into that, is the same thing as your spirit going out into the open water. You're going out, and there's nothing holding you. Like in the commercial, she's just on gum. There wasn't any boundaries, and it was like everything was in movement. It seems like in these commercials, like everything in the background was going, then the wave of the gum was going, and I'm really curious if anybody else remembers these commercials. Am I just completely making this up? Like, or is that a part of our is it a Mandela thing or something? No, because how could we even all be making up the same shit? So, anyways, if anybody else remembers these commercials, tell me, because I'm just like, am I making this shit up? Like, what the hell? I remember this. So, anyways, it was all this movement, but this is what they were showing me to get the point across. So, was that is like the same thing of being in open water, and that is the same thing as like you can't just go from one to the next because there's nothing holding you. And this is the thing, is like why it is where I said where people are holding on, and it's gonna hurt. Everything in this this world, this reality, this existence that you hold on to in this shift is going to hurt. It's going to be pulled away from you, and you're holding on in desperation. It's going to feel like you're hanging on a cliff and someone's stepping on your fingers. But that's where you got to just realize, like, what are you trying to hold on to? And you got to let go. You got to let go and free fall. You got to let it just be like, okay, let's see what's going to happen, and let go. And there's going, that's the part where you're going to feel uncomfortable too, because it is like going on a slide with nothing, and you're going fast on this slide, or you're going out into open water and there's nothing there to identify you. And that is why you got to kind of do it slowly. You got to kind of release things. Otherwise, it would feel like you're going in a rocket ship suddenly. You just launched yourself. And it's like, buckle up. You take the slow ride out to the open water. You don't just propel yourself. That's what's so crazy about these people who just like, you just jump into your new timeline. You just jump over there. And it's like, you gotta, it's like you gotta prepare. It's like a spaceman needing to go and prepare for going out in space, even though that's like not real, but we'll use it as an example. But so, they got to go through all of their learning how to not have anything to hold them, and what it feels like to move and stuff like that. So it's kind of the same thing, is you got to work your way up to it, because otherwise, you're just suddenly in open water and you're going to be fucking, here comes the sharks and I'm drowning, or you're going down the slide and there's nothing to hold on to and it's just whipping you around. So it is like you've got to work yourself up to it, and that is the difference of the low vibration and the high vibration, because the high vibration, you got nothing to hold on to. Things are moving fast, and there's no boundary, there's nothing to hold you. And so in the emotional, or the in the world, then you start getting all this judgment and stuff towards you, and that will pull people right back, especially in a very compliant world that cares too much about what somebody else thinks about them. That is going to pull them back from their own truth. So it's like a life preserver, and you got to keep going out there and swimming out there, and like, I don't need a life preserver. I don't need any of you guys to rescue me. I'm going. And this was kind of getting me the other day, was because I've gone to town a couple times to go do a couple errands, which it felt like a relief kind of to get away from here. And I have another return now, because when I ordered the umbrella, at first I thought I was just going to replace the top of one, but then they were all different. I was like, fuck it, I'm just getting one whole thing. So I have a return of the topper thing. And so I got that to go back into town. There was another thing too. I was thinking, oh, I got to go do some errands in town. But I don't know if I'm going to go today. And who knows? And Sunday is even Easter. And so if something big is going to go down on I'm just so curious. Like, I don't know. There's been a lot of these dates that, they just come and go and come and go and come and go. But it is curious of, how it fits in and what's going to happen and stuff. Because, it is a big holy day. So, anyways, so, maybe it's the day of the rapture. So, anyways, going and feeling like there's nothing to hold you. Like, you can't get mad at other people because of how they see you. You have to stand strong in the things you believe when everybody is looking at you like you're a crazy fool. And you believe in your own awareness and trust yourself and stuff. Then that is, there's nothing to hold on to. And it sounds weird, but people don't realize how much they structure themselves around having something to hold on to give themselves an idea of who and what they are. And that is what is so important about releasing it. That's why, to me, you can't just jump. You can't just jump and let it all go. If it was that simple, then why wouldn't we do it when we died? Why wouldn't we just let go of everything? No, it doesn't make any sense to me. How they think, like, I've been carrying these baggage for eons, but now I got my quantum jump on. I'm just going to jump out and leave it all behind. It's like, good luck to you. Because I think that you're just putting a bigger anchor on your fucking ship, dude. So you need to actually release this stuff. Like, the ship is sinking. This world's going down. So start getting rid of stuff and start moving out away from the storm. And that takes, a lot of, it's a different kind of observation because there's such a fear component when it comes to observation, because people get really hung up on things and they just keep watching and watching. But all it does is feed their fear. Instead of just watching and things how they play out, it feeds into their fear, and their fear can be something that they've heard from somebody else or something, like, well, church says this is going to happen. Like, there's so much biblical prophecy and stuff, and it is so much about fear. It's like, I don't understand this. But anyways, and like, she has those stations on, those podcasts, and they're definitely like religious kind of people. A lot of religion and Jesus and stuff gets brought up a lot, and so that's where I hear, like, just there's so much fear all the time. And even on, they have this weird commercial. I may have talked about this before, but it's on all the motherfucking time. And it's fucking weird. And there's more of these. This is just one I've caught. And it's just like, some of this shit is so goddamn absurd. That, so it's a whole, that's Lily. She's the one-eyed girl. So my mom also has a one-eyed cat. Lily had two eyes, but she was playing with the dog, and one of the dogs hit her with a nail and flipped her eyeball out. These dogs with these certain kind of eyeballs, she's like a Chihuahua mix, so they've got those little round eyeballs sticking out too. But then it's like, with the dog, these two, especially Max, just wants to irritate cats. He just wants to play with them. He doesn't do anything, but he'll get up in their face if they won't play at him. He'll bark at them. It's like, dude, you're gonna lose one of those little fucking eyeballs. And Jack, when she got him, it was a tiny little kitten. Like, she has a lot of these ones that she's fed from, like, they were tiny babies, so they think that she's her mom. And all her cats are super old. She's got, most of them are really old. And so when she got Jack, he came with a eye infection, with an eyeball hanging out, and she had to do surgery. So he has one eye. He's the nicest cat. That cat is, well, there's a few that are just the sweetest. She's got this one Willow that's got a sixth toe or something. It's called something. She's got one that's got a bobcat looking tail. I swear to God, that one's a panther. Yesterday I was out there. This was kind of trippy. So I had went out there and I took it some food, put it in this dish, and it always just like pushes the dish out like, more please. So I got his dish and I went and got him some food. And when I put it down, I was like, no, I went and got the food and I brought it down and put it in his thing. And then I checked the water and the water was empty. So I should have grabbed it when I was there, but I think I had the dogs with me when I went by and I could see it push the dish out. So I'm not going to walk down there with them to do that. So I came back up to get the food. But anyway, so I had to take the water. And I brought the water back up and got water. And then went walking back down. Well, he was already there. And so he was outside of the thing. And he kind of had his head. So this is a shed. You know, those sheds. I don't know. This is one that'd be too small, I think, for a tiny house, but I don't know. Some people make these little tiny houses. I would say it's like 6 by 10 or 8 by 10 or something. And it's like this little tiny barn thing. And so on part of it, it's off the ground. So whatever, I don't know. I wasn't here when it got put up. So there's a space. And this cat, if it's a cat, I think it's a panther. It's so big. And so it was outside of the thing. It may just be a giant cat, and it, you know, it may not be that it's going to keep growing. We'll see. I don't know. So I'm come walking up, and the food now, so it's kind of got its face down in the food, but his body's out. So he's kind of stuck his face down into the thing where the food is. And so his whole body's outside of the shed thing. But he can't see me walking up, and he didn't hear me, I guess. And so I come walking up, and I've got the water. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to startle this thing. It was a goddamn wild cat. And, which, no matter what, it's living wild. So, I just said, do you want this water? I got some water for you. And just like that. And it was so trippy because it just like he turned his body and just kind of, it was the weirdest thing. It was like otherworldly. It was like, this guy's a shapeshifter or something. And he just like turned his body and kind of went under the thing. And then, so I went and just slid the water and walked away. But he didn't even look up at me, nothing. He just kind of slinked in there. And, so I got a good look at his body, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, either he's a really big cat, like really big, or he's still growing. So I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But it just trips me out how she wants these Black Panthers painted all over the place. It's like, Mom, you've manifested a Black Panther to come here now, live under your shed. Well, it's just not going to fit into the shed if it's a panther. And the neighbors they like to go out and just take aim on fucking geese and ducks. They'll be real excited and go out and get something like that. But the deers and stuff walk around. It was funny the other day, I did see a video on TikTok, I don't know, a couple days ago, last week or something, where somebody was downtown Spokane. So I'm in Spokane now, but I'm on the outskirts. I'm in the rural, so I'm out. It's called 9 Mile. And so in Spokane, though, this guy was downtown. It was a whole fucking herd of deer, like, just walking through the street. And he's like, look at this. What the hell's happening here? But I don't think that it's real super strange. Like, there's always, like, it weirded me out where I was that I didn't see deers all the time. Because here, I see deers all the time. And it's not like that. But I don't know. It was kind of trippy, I guess, that they're just, like, all walking through the downtown thing. And it could be, a sign that something's going on. I'm always watching the birds and to see. And there has been a lot that have been up in the thing, up above, like riding the current. And my mom said the other day, she went out and she said there was 15 of them up there. And she's like, I was wondering what they could be. And I was told always that those are like hawks or eagles are the ones that can go up and they go up high and they don't flap their wings. They just ride the current. They just put their wings out and they just soar through the current, and then they'll just go around and around, and then they'll go back up, and then they'll go around and around. She says there was 15. I've seen 3 or 4, but some I think are eagles because we're by the water, and that's another thing you see around here too a lot if you're in Spokane. Is so you do see a lot of eagles and deers. There's these cool rodents. Even somebody I think it was on the news that there was some kind of river otter or something. So, and the river rats, they call them river rats, but they're huge. These big, they kind of look like a beaver with a different kind of tail. And they're all over by the river. They're cute as hell. And there's, I don't know, there's lots of wildlife around here. But anyways, there's a whole thing walking through downtown. It was funny to see him and how tripped out this guy was to see him. And the road was pretty clear, and it was dark, so it was probably at night. And all of them just trotting down the street. It just was cool looking. So, anyways, but going into the whole thing of being out there, you are out there. And you are out there where, you can't hold on to what everybody else thinks of you and be out there at the same time. You have to be able to let go of what everybody else thinks of you and be able to pull into what you think of other things. And there is these communications, but you've got to pay attention, because I think there's so much stuff where people just think like, God, I think weird stuff. And one thing too, oh yeah, because that was another thing, because while I was over there, I was making my tea and I was having that, I was thinking, fuck, man, it's so fucking loud right now. It's so intense, this energy. And, that is another thing, is while the energy is so chaotic and so loud and so intense, is to be able to recognize or slow it down so that you can hear it, see it, and be a part of it. And that to me is like, because as your vibration goes up, it happens more naturally. Like when you are going towards it. So it happens and it all kind of goes together, just like a development, a growth. And, which again, why you can't skip, like what they say. But when, and you can't force it. You can't force yourself to be comfortable when it's uncomfortable. But see, there's so much of this stuff, because when you say that, and on one level, yeah, you got to push yourself into uncomfortable to become comfortable. So you have to push yourself to do things that you think are uncomfortable for your growth. And so you have to at times be uncomfortable. But on this other thing of this quantum jumping thing, this, leaving the old self behind and just jumping into the new self, instead of figuring out what it is that the old self was, how did they get there, what are they doing there and stuff. And they want to skip all that, which is so strange to me. Because in this, like, if you claim you're a spiritual person, then in the spiritual world, it's a cleansing to understand yourself. So you want to understand yourself, not just jump away from yourself. And so your, let me see, some of the things that's hard to put it into words or whatever. So the discomfort to go into the part of letting go is it's an uncomfortable thing, and you got to ride it, and it's moving at a different pace, and there's a lot of noise and stuff. And so you got to become comfortable with things that you were not comfortable with before. And so that is another, thing in your development, as you become more independent as your being, is the entity that you are, to not, gravitate towards groups, not hold on to what everybody else thinks of you, hold on to how you identify yourself. Like, there was a huge identity crisis I went through when I lost my nursing license, because I had identified myself as a nurse for so, it was such a part of, like, I'm a nurse, and all my friends were nurses and doctors and medical people. It's people who you work around, and so you go in and everybody like this was one thing is this one girl, she would have a party every year, and then she moved from our floor to the ICU floor, and on some of those people, like, they are so far up their ass, and so it was summer friendly and nice, especially if you're another nurse. But anyways, there's a lot of ego in this profession. And so the going to her party when I was a nurse was one thing. I don't know, you talk about like, oh, this doctor or what happened on this floor or whatever. You know, it's this conversation. Everybody works together. And even like at a hospital, even though you're not working with a person, when you're all working in this hospital, even it's like 25,000 people work there. And it's funny too, because you have a parking pass and you see that on all these cars. Like, it's a big employer of this area, this hospital. And so when going to the parties and stuff and being a nurse was one thing. Then once I got my brain injury, and then I started getting tattoos and stuff, and then I went to this one party, and it was like, I don't fit in here anymore. This isn't my jam. I feel this is not it. And so I didn't go to any more of those parties. I just kind of left that behind. The whole nursing gig, all the friends and all that stuff was like, it's just not my thing anymore. It's not my gig. And they're such a little organism. They're their own little thing. And so anyways, yeah, I had to go out of that. But it was for some reason I was talking about that, or something that made me see that or motivated me towards that. So I don't remember what it was now. So hopefully it makes sense to you guys, whatever it was I said, because I have no idea. And Lily keeps on barking. So anyways, let's see, because I'll start wrapping it up anyways. Let's see. So hopefully I'm making sense, because it is like this slowed down, drudgery, heavy, dark, dilapidated reality when you are trying to understand yourself through all of these things. Like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, then okay, now I remember the nurse identity. So then that was an identity crisis when that happened. You know, I was just like, when I felt like I was kicked out of the rat race, which is like absurd, huh? But it felt like I was rejected, and there was nothing I could do about it. Like, I was super, super embarrassed in the very beginning, when people would be like, what do you do? What do you do for a living? Like, when that's everybody's conversation. And then to have to be like, well, I'm on disability. It was like such a stigma. It was such a like, I'm not. I used to be a nurse. I got a brain injury. It's like, you know, it was a lot of different conversations, you know, and it just kept expanding. There was points in time where I just focused on art and stuff. So then it was like, well, I just do art. I'm just an artist. Then when I started doing tattoos all the time, then it was like, well, I'm a tattoo artist. So it kind of kept shifting and shifting and shifting. But it was a total identity crisis when it first happened. So that could be, you know, something you hold on to. I've got to hold on to this. I was a nurse. I'm a nurse. I got to tell everybody, oh, I'm a nurse. I'm not stupid. I'm, you know what I mean? Which I have, you know, said before. Well, you know, I was a nurse. I do understand medical shit. And so in the Western medical world, I understand a bit of that. And so anyways, but that's where you can hold on to these identities. And when they're ripped out of your hands, I can tell you it hurts. But those things is what gives you a grasp on yourself, so that you can kind of be like, see these sides of yourself. So, because everything in this world, as the soul enters into the unknown, into this space, is it has to do with understanding themselves, and it's understanding yourself through experience. So it's experiencing yourself. And then one thing is that a part of the being, or the not the vessel, but the being, is has a judgment towards self. So they are in a battle of balance all the time between the two energies of the dark and the light, the good and the bad, or whatever. And so you the getting it out of balance, oh, okay, let me see if I can say that some more clearly. So you get it out of the balance, you're holding on to an identity. Oh, yeah, because an identity carries certain characteristics. So I'm this, so I'm this, this, and this, and this. And so at this point in time in life is like where you start questioning, but am I this? Am I this and this? Am I that? Am I this and that? Or am I a little bit of this over there? You know, like one of the other ones was going from being a liberal my whole fucking life, and then all of a sudden, where people start saying you're conservative, and that was like a, you know, for first it was like a stigma, like, what? No, I'm not. What are you talking about? But then all they start being like, well, yeah, I guess I am. I am a lot more conservative. Yeah, I don't want to watch people make out in a movie. I don't want to watch people bang it out in a movie. I don't want to watch all this stuff that they're pushing on us all the time. So yeah, I guess I am conservative. You know, I've got enough imagination. I don't not need to have this voyeurism that they push on us, and which in the sense of their voyeurism also is an occurrence of fetishes. It is a creation of fetishes. So everything has a nefarious intention when they do it. But but anyways, these ways that we begin to identify ourselves. So in this world, we're birthed in, and then we start trying to figure out, well, who and what are we? What are they? What are they doing? And what are we doing? And how are we doing this? And so we start latching on. Well, lock on here. Well, I think I'm that. Well, I'm this. Well, I'm that. And so it becomes your identity. It becomes who and what you are. And that is why this is like this huge identity crisis that happens, so that you can let go of who you thought you were, because you aren't those things. You just have made that be all you are. It becomes a cage. You've caged yourself in by trying to think that this is what you are, instead of looking outside of it. So it becomes like a safety net. It becomes your coffin. It becomes your closed in cage of it's very limited. And so that is why a part of the graduation, this infatuation, is this going towards this a prime example of self, of leaving these parameters that you thought all you were was this, but you got to leave that behind. Well, I'm not just this, so how much am I really of this? And you start, it's like whittling yourself down. It's like forming the clay. It's like you taking away things. Like you can still hold on to certain identities. Like I can still say, well, you know, I've got medical training. I was a nurse. I can still be a part of me. All the different things are all parts of you. And so, you know, like I'm not a Christian, but I was raised by one. You know, it's just to help you figure yourself out, but not be so defined, to give it more gray, not so black and white, because that's where you find the balance. The movement goes in a more productive pattern. Can you hear the turkeys? I love how they sound. They're so gobble, 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 gobble. They're so cute. And I think it's the one guy, his flock, and he, I think, is talking to him. But I think it's mostly he does all the talking. And, I have seen where I'm sure it's one guy with all these girls. But I don't know, because there was the other one where there was a girl and a guy that were here. Either they had gotten lost from the flock, so they just hung out here and mom was feeding them all the time. And they were definitely a couple, so I don't know. There's got to be some other guys. I mean, it's just hard to tell. I don't know. I don't know how they all were. I know geese go in pairs, and certain ducks, they couple up and they stay a couple until somebody dies. And it's just sad because sometimes the partner dies before the other one, and it's just sad. So becoming yourself is letting go of who you thought you were, for sure. You got to let go of all of that, because it is like a structure. It's like a jailhouse that you've built around yourself. You've put the bars on the cage, and so you're the only one who can open the door. Nobody can force the door open. You're the one who has to open it. And then think about, you're going from a bird in a cage to going out into flight. And it can be scary to all of a sudden, all you have is air and all you have is open sky. You can just fly where you want to go. But for the soul, there's also the kind of like tiptoe out and kind of look out like, ugh, what's out here? And so you are going from this very strong identity that you create for yourself, but you got to realize the limitations behind the creation and let go. And what I have found is so much is about biases and stuff. Like, the thing of like, when it went from being liberal to conservative, where they start saying, well, you're a conservative. Oh, and it's a bad word to be called a Republican. And there is more going on now with that too. Somebody was talking about that the Republicans and stuff, they are all on board for something. I can't remember. Something against our rights. It's something against human rights. Something shit, jackassery. So, but see, everything happening is to expose these different things, because it's the collapse. So everything being exposed is to collapse. And we're going to go out of this structured, pick a team, because it's absurd. And we're going to go into smaller kind of communities and stuff where it's not going to be all this laws and stuff. Like, things are going to be changing. We're going to go back and live more like how tribes, living in peace. And I was thinking too, a lot of the other water, like a lot of the other land masses or other planets or other places and stuff, I think a lot of the beings that are human beings, that they are kind of like what you think of like Hawaiians or even Alaska. It's like these tribes, and those ones are in the cold, those ones are in the heat, but it's going to be kind of like that, like where you think like aliens, there's different kinds and stuff, but the ones that are in this density or whatever of this earth plane, like wherever we are in this vibration, and when the waters open up and we are able to go out and travel around, like there's going to be a lot that look like us. I think that there's going to be a lot that look kind of like Filipino or something, but there is different group, because I'm telling you, like these Middle Eastern is like a tribe of people that came a long time ago, and like colonizers or something. They aren't from the original people. They are some group that came. I still say the original people are more like the Aborigines. I think those people are more of the original people, but it's more of this going back. I think that the people kind of looked kind of like a mix between Oriental and darker skin and stuff like. So anyways, but there's other groups of people who are here who I think that their tribes go all the way back, like they're colonizers to this place. They aren't of the original people. And so I don't know. We'll hear more about, the truth of our stuff as things keep unfolding. But I 100%, we're not all, there's only a certain group of people that are original earthlings, original human beings. And then some, I mean, I think some of us are going to find out like the lab created people, and who knows, like, fuck, we could all just be clones. We could all be motherfucking clones for all we know. So we'll see. Like, we'll see as things go, because that's one thing too that they've shown in the movies, that a lot of the clones don't know they're clones. Well, you better just open your goddamn mind up, because you could very well be a clone. They had to repopulate after their last reset. So, who knows how we all got here. But anyways, there's all different things. There's all different things, and not all aliens look like grays. A lot of them just look like humanoids, but a lot of these landmass worlds just are that, like, look like islander people. So, you think like, oh, well, they're aliens from somewhere else or something. Well, they just look just like us. And I think that's one reason why we call people around from other places from us, they're aliens. They're aliens. They're illegal aliens. It's so stupid. So, but I think the alien thing is like, yeah, just think about how our words work. And so anyways, I'll just keep on rattling on. Okay, let's just look at my hair and see if it's not like like those one girls, like they had this hair like down here. This is 3 weeks. Well, mine isn't growing that fucking fast, I'll tell you that. Oh yeah, and my mom saw my sister yesterday or the day before, whatever. And my sister was like, well, you still have gray hair, so obviously the copper cup doesn't really work. And so mom made me send pictures of mine, which I was still like, if she's going to sit there and say, oh, well, you still have some gray. It was like, it takes time. Like, compare what my hair used to be like. God, I used to pull this back. This whole fucking thing was white. And not only was it just white, the hair changes, and it was just like, woo! It was like crazy hair. And so, yeah, now it's just gone back to this. And my mom said, well, this part doesn't look white or silver. It looks blonde when you see her. And so that's why I keep telling you, this doesn't look like, it looks different here. But if you saw me in person, I think if you saw me in person, my hair is like a totally different color than it looks on here altogether. So anyways, but my mom said in person, this looks more like it's just blonde, like it's just lighter than the rest of the hair. So just but I don't know. People just want instantaneous, like, and then plus people can't even wrap their heads around, they can't fathom aging not being real. Yeah, right. Everybody's doing it. Look, it's like, yeah, but everybody's bought in. Everybody's bought into this reality. And so, yeah, that's when you got to go stand on the open water and you got to be like, no, you guys can keep on aging, but it's not real. You've bought in, you've surrendered, you're surrendering your health. And the way, to me, is an important thing is don't stop doing stuff. Don't stop walking. Don't stop exercising. Don't stop being active. You got to stay active. You got to stay limber. You got to keep your heart flow. You got to keep oxygenating yourself. So anyways, it is, there's steps to take to, and it's not anti-aging, because that's the thing too, is I feel like that the group who is aging thinks like, oh, well, you're just desperate. Just you quit fighting the natural thing. Aging is just a part of being alive. Well, in your reality, not in my reality. In my reality, we are expanding. We're becoming superhuman. We are learning more about our real abilities. We're letting go of this anchor of a world and this three-dimensional concept of ourselves, this flesh and blood, where these people just Frankenstein us. And so you're moving into a space open water, the bird coming out of the cage, flying in the air. So yeah, it's a different way of looking at life and a different way of looking at things. But yeah, and aging isn't real as far as I can see. It's not real, because when you start doing the things, replenishing your minerals, start taking care of yourself. And I learned all this. It's not like I'm just making it up. Like, I was sickly, dying, fucking. I was more overweight. I was sickly. I had issues, and it all turned around when I went off of all those meds. Like, I was on fucking all those 18. Went off of those and started aiming more towards my health and really thinking about what I was putting into myself. Stopped, well, I mean, there was a few years where I still, like, I'm not even going to say, like, I don't drink. My mom has these little tiny beers. I had a little cup of it one of the days, I don't know. So see, I mean, right there, I drank half of a little beer thing. And, so I wouldn't say, like, oh, well, I don't drink. I don't drink. But it's not like my lifestyle. I don't drink as a lifestyle. It's not any big part of my life. There's nothing. And also, I don't go out to eat. So I mean, rarely. Like, I think I've gone out to eat 3 or 4 times in 2024. This year, I think I went out to eat that one when I was moving. There was 2 times I ate out. So I was, but I don't eat out on the regular. And I have changed it to go more into the cycles of our earth, or our natural cycles. So as the sun's coming up, then I eat more. And as the sun's going down, I eat less. I can't say, well, I never eat in the evening, because sometimes I'm hungry and I'll eat. I go with whatever it is. I don't just set rules for myself. I set a target. I set a direction. But I'm not going to structure the whole thing. I'm going to be open. But there's certain things that changing my lifestyle definitely has changed me. And when I started taking in the minerals, that's when I really started seeing, like, oh my God, you start aging backwards. How can that be? If aging is so real and it doesn't have to do with minerals, then how can it start going backwards? So to me, I just start putting it all together. And then when you start finding out about all the parasite and all the shit that they're putting in, like, in the top, it's like, no, that's what's going on. That is what's going on. And this control, this prison planet is like, we're going to make you sick. And then, I guess, grab you back on your way out. And so they are making us live. Well, you can't just say making us, because we come here with free will. We come here for the experience, to learn, to understand ourselves. But in this experience, it is hold you back from who you are as an eternal being. And at that point, that's when, aging and death and stuff isn't real. I'll tell you this too, because it was weird, because like my ex, like number 4, he always had to go talk to anybody but me. He always had to go out, and he always had to be like, I was so fucking weird. But anyway, so he goes over and he starts talking to some guy, and he starts asking him, come over here. I want you to tell me how old you think my wife is. And so the guy comes over. I'm just sitting over here. I have no idea this is going on. He comes over, and so then my ex comes and says, oh, that guy thinks you look 45. And I don't know how old was I then. I don't know, 50-something, 52 or 53 or something. And so, I was like, okay. And so then I was thinking that, so that would have been like a 2012, I would say. So 2012, this guy told me I looked like I was 45. So it was a few years difference. Then there was my neighbor, My neighbor told me a few times, she's like, man, you're so, I would swear you're 45. You don't look your age. And she said that to me a few times. So that was over the last couple years. So the 45 range continued to stay, but also I healed in that time. And so instead of getting older, I have stayed in that range. Well, then the other day, so there's this AI thing that all these people are doing, and you go onto this filter and it will tell you how old you look. And so all these people were doing it, and they were like, "Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good." You know, says I'm 52, but really I'm 56. That's pretty good. And there was all these different ones seeing it. So then I was like, "Huh, I'm gonna go in and see what it says." It said 44. So then I was like, and there was another person too. I don't remember who, but I had heard it again. So that is where I'm saying is like, I think our natural age range is probably like for the young people, if they don't go into the aging, they'll probably always look like they're 35 or 40 years old. But, and then probably after we go through the med beds, well, it takes you back 25 years. So if you're just, you know, blowing everything off and you're just going at it, and you go in and, you know, you look 65, then you still, that would bring you back to being 40. So see, I swear to God, I mean, like if you're 70 or 80 and you're really old and stuff like that, like you really let yourself go, and you go into the med beds, then you would go back, you would still be like around 50. You know, you would still be, you know, in that range of how you would kind of appear, because it would turn your cells back into a higher vibration. So you would anti-age and go backwards. So, but I think mostly, I think the society is going to be in that kind of range, like as an adult becomes, but there's going to be things that make somebody look older, but it's kind of like a wisdom or something, and it will show in people's faces. But I think that we're all going to kind of, you know, our thing would be that we would be our natural cartoon version of ourselves will be like we will be between 35 and 45 looking. And everybody's going to be their best looking selves and stuff. So, yeah, we're not going to be a bunch of old people and losing our hair and overweight and stuff. No, we're all going to be prime examples of ourselves. And so, anyways, that, the aging thing, see, then why isn't it that I have been getting older and older and older? And so if, you know, my sister wants to say, well, there's still gray. Well, it takes time, but you got to be working on it, and it changes your skin. It changes, you know, another thing I was thinking about, because, you know, laying out in the sun, you know, and getting all this sun and stuff. And I was thinking, you know, anywhere I would go, people would be like thinking I've got a spray tan or something. And it's like, man, that's accepted. Spray a bunch of chemicals on you, absorb into your skin. But that's accepted. But if you go lay in the sun, well, you're obviously a crazy person, because you're going to get cancer. It's like, I think that the stuff you're spraying, that is probably giving, I don't think the sun, I think it's the, I think that the stuff that they use to block it, that stuff, that adds in and gives you that stuff, the CA. But I don't know. It goes that there's a lot of weird things about the sun right now. There's a lot of weird things about the moon right now. Like, it was over another weird thing. So anyways, it was 101 when I said, okay, I'm going to start wrapping it up. Now it's 128. It's like, oh my God, Kelly, shut up. Okay, so hopefully, you know, I'm sure that you guys can all put it together. Whatever I said, whatever I left off, whatever I drug through, you guys will figure it out. So let's just look at this thing. It really is sensitive, though, as it grows. I'm telling you, it's like, geez, always so glad when it's healed. And I bet you it still is going to be tender for a while after it's still, because just think about different parts of your body. Like if you fall and you skin your knee and it takes a long time to heal, it still stays tender for a long time. So I think it stays tender for a while. So we'll see. But I'm doing all this stuff right here. Like you guys have been watching my hair turn and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know why it takes so much convincing to people. Like, no, this really works. I'm just making it up. And I'm not just holding on to, oh, well, I'm so scared. I don't want to age. I don't want to. I've always been somebody who's like, yeah, I'll just age gracefully. When I was a kid and they were talking, I'd be like, I just think age gracefully, just go, just like let things happen naturally. And so I think I wasn't ever like freaked out about aging, and I wasn't ever freaked out about death. And so, yeah, it's kind of weird, when people think like, oh, you just don't want to, oh, you just don't want to get old. That's why you don't have birthdays anymore, is because you don't want to get old. It's like, no, you just don't really understand me. You don't understand where I'm coming from at all. So, anyways, I just don't believe in this shit. And it's all to capture you, to hold you, hold your energy, hold your psyche, hold your mental capacity, hold your identity. So you're the shifter, you're the savior, you're the one who's got to come in and do the work. Or, you can try out what they're saying, just jump into a new reality. Good luck to you. You're going to probably feel like you're drowning if you even could, because you need the work to get to where you're going. You need to develop to be able to be there. Otherwise, you're going to feel like you're drowning, because, like I said, it's like you're going and it's like there's nothing to hold on to. And so, yeah, you got to let go and just free fall and let it happen. Let life show you what you're here for. Let it go. Let it spring forward. Let it happen. Go with the flow. Find peace with the pace. And remember, what you're doing here is learning how to love yourself, how to love everybody, and how to have a loving day, because it's totally up to you. It's your outlook. So we'll look at it again tomorrow. Talk to you later. Bye.